Hey there, just wanted to make a cafe video. If you have been using the spreadsheet, you would know that the cafe has been in work in progress mode for a little while now. Just taking some time to get the math done. If you want a TLDR version, here on the right side is gonna be character ranking. And the color is gonna be how good they are. So Aurelia is the best one, Edgar is the second best one, Hanel is the first best one. Then we have the 45 traffic characters, then the 0.3 per disc characters, and then Nanali. And if you look on the left side, they're also gonna be color coded. So obvious first one is blue, green, yellow, orange, red, and then dark red wine color. That is the order of how effective they are. So if you scroll down, we have the furniture and the cheapest options, how to get the max popularity for your cafe. If you haven't done all the furniture and gotten your cafe popularity up, I recommend buying these items. It should be the cheapest. I have tried to double check and triple check that these are the cheapest ones combination. So yeah, if we're gonna get into the math, let's start with the easy characters. If you notice, Sakiri over here is white. That means I haven't done the math for her because we don't know exactly how her skill works. Nobody has tested it, and the skill description is a little bit confusing. It could be meaning different things. So she's gonna be left blank for now, but I don't think she's a game changer. If anything, she would be as good as Hanel, which is decent. She would be like 4th or 3rd character to max, which is not bad. Okay, so let's go to the math part. We have the base traffic value, the base hour revenue, and the base disc prices. Obviously, we have the hot buff, which I can't take off. So these base disc prices are very close to each other because the two beverages were the hot disc prices for me. So they're both like 17.5-ish, 70. I think they're both 17. Anyway, the total sum of the disc prices is 87, which is important as well as the base traffic value. Now, if we have Edgar over here with 63 traffic, it's going to be 63 traffic times the sum of the base price of all the base disc prices deviated by 100, which means we get 5 of 54.81 fonts gained from Edgar. Somewhat simple, but that is how the math is gonna be. Then for the 45 traffic characters, we use the same math and it comes out to 39.15 fonts gained. Then we have the per disc price. For Hanel, it's 0.42 for all her passives at level 5. Obviously, these buff all the dishes as well. So you do 5 for every dish, times 0.45, that's the buff, times the traffic, the base traffic value, deviated by 100, equals 50.40 fonts from Hanel. Then we have the characters that are 0.3 per dish price at level 5. They come out to 36 fonts gain. Then we have Aurelia math, which is slightly more complicated because she has a per dish and a traffic one. Now she gains 1.5% extra traffic per beverage. I have 2 beverages on. I don't think it's worth getting more than 2. Anyway, 2 beverages on. Turns out to be 72 traffic. So 2,472 traffic because our base traffic is 2,400. Then she has this 0.12 per disc price. So we do the disc price math, which is 5 times 0.12 equals 0.60. Then we add the 0.60 to the base disc price sum, which turns into 87.60. Now we put this together down here to get the actual total of both level 1 and level 5 combined, which is going to be 87.60 from the per dish price. Then it's going to be times 2472 traffic from the traffic passive deviated by 100, which comes out to 77.47 fawns gain, which you can see is vastly the best one. Now we get into the most complicated one, which is Nanali. The reason she's so complicated is because she has a specific tag like main dish. If we get a specific character like dessert dish, in the future, then their math is probably gonna be hard as well. Anyway, if we have one main dish, it's gonna be her first passive at 5 times 0.2 times 2400 divided by 100, which is gonna be 24 fawns gain, which is pretty bad, but it's a level 1 passive. Remember that, it's not at level 5. So comparing it to the level 5 one, she does turn out pretty bad. Then you have 2 main dishes. If you have 2 main dishes, it's gonna be 0.5 instead, because you get the 0.2 and the 0.3 at level 5, which is 60 fawns gain. Now that's pretty good, that's second best. So why is Nanali not listed as second best? Well, we can only have 5 dishes at once, and unfortunately the best 5 dishes only have 1 main. And the best dishes in order goes from dessert, main, dessert, beverage, beverage. You could remove the lowest beverage and then Nanali would be worth it, quote unquote, but then you lose this effect from Aurelia, which is the strongest effect that we have, which I don't think is worth it. So instead you would want to remove the dessert. I haven't done the math if removing a beverage is worth it, but I did the math on the dessert one. Since the beverages was hot, I didn't want to mess up the math, since that changes the price of the beverages. Anyway, the lowest one that isn't a beverage is a dessert. So if we had to swap the main dish out for the dessert one, how would that look? So due to the difference of the dessert and the main dish, we have 418.98, that's the main dish price an hour. Then we have the dessert, which is 456.85. That turns out to be a negative 37.87. So if we just changed the main dish out with the dessert, we would lose 37.87 fawns every hour. But then we add the passives. Here, this is the level 5 passive, which turns out to be 36 fawns on its own. Here's the math. 36 minus 37.87 is minus 1.87. This means that we lose 1.87 fawns every hour, which is not a lot, but it's still a loss. Therefore, swapping out the main dish for the dessert is not worth it, as we will be losing 1 fawns and 87 per hour. And then you ask, what about the hot buff? Does the hot buff changes anything? It does not changes anything for these characters up here, as they don't have any dish specific buffs besides Aurelia, but that's a traffic buff which doesn't benefit from the hot buff really. And she's already the best when not on hot, so she will just be even better. She'll just be even better than the best. So obviously for Nanali this is important, because the hot buff could change this math, as she's just 1 fawn below the threshold of being better. The hot buff for beverages is +1. I don't know what the main dish is. I haven't had the main dish yet to check it, but the beverage was +1, so we're gonna use +1. I've seen some of the other buffs was 0.75 when I was leveling, but I don't remember what specific tag they had. But anyway, +1 is the highest I've seen, which means this would be the best case scenario for Nanali. So we take the +1 that we have, times base traffic divided by 100. That's 24 fawns gain on the hot buff. That's how much we get on the hot buff bonus fawn gain. Then we take the 37.87 that's what we lose for swapping out the dishes. Then we say plus 36, that's what we gain from the 5th passive. Then we say plus 24 from the font gain for hot buff, turns into 22.13 fonts gain. And then you say, what about the level 1 passive? We're gonna get into that right here. Now it's worth getting the second main dish because we're gaining 22 fonts. With the level 1 passive, the total profit will be 58.13 fonts, as the first passive is another 24 fonts on top of the 22, which turns out to be 58.13. If you want to read the stuff here, that explains it as well. So Nanali is worth it if you have 2 main dishes and the buff, the hot buff is main dish. But when there's no hot buff, she's not worth it. Most days there isn't gonna be a main dish hot buff, and therefore I don't think she's worth leveling overall, as we don't have enough characters to swap them in and out, and we don't have every character leveled to level 5. When we have every character level 5 and we have like 15 characters and we can't put them all in at once, putting Nanali in on days we have the hot buff for main dishes will give huge profit, but taking her off on all the other days will give us profit as well. So she's a swap in, swap out kind of character, not really useful for the current cafe progress that we are at. And that's gonna be all of the math for the cafe video. Hope you enjoy NTE, and see you next time.